Spain's Carlos Sainz, winner of the Monte Carlo Rally, round 1 of the 1998 World Rally Championship. The scenery gives away the location of round 2, the international Swedish rally, but can Sainz and his co-driver Luis Moya repeat that win? The rally began well for the pair. They were fastest on the first stage to take an early lead. The north of Europe plays host to the only true winter rally in the championship. Never won by a non-Scandinavian, last year saw Kenneth Eriksson take his 3rd win on his home event, despite the absence of the traditional snowy backdrop. There were fears that this year's rally would suffer the same problem, but heavy snowfalls in the 2 weeks before the start gave the spectators plenty to cheer. Eriksson was trying for win number 4, but this would be his last event for Subaru. Leg 1's 8 stages took the cruise from the host city of Karlstad to Hagfors and back. It was bitterly cold, minus 11 degrees at one point, and snow was falling.
Mitsubishi's Richard Burns was tackling the rally for the first time and was a solid 7th fastest on the opening stage, but then made a small but costly error on the very next.
Can't see anything.
Burns' teammate Tommy Mackinnon passes the stranded Charisma. Fortunately, co-driver Robert Reed found enough spectators to help heave the Mitsubishi back on the road, but all the time the clock was ticking away.
Just went a bit wide on the exit of one corner and the snow just dragged me in and we ended up like in a ditch.
How much time have you lost?
I don't know, at least 6 minutes, 6 or 7 minutes, something like that.
Were the conditions particularly bad this morning?
I don't know what's good or bad.
In fact, over 9 minutes were lost, dropping Burns to 66th place. Stage 2 also caused a few headaches for Ford's Bruno Thierry, literally. Exhaust fumes leaked into the car, leaving Thierry and Stéphane Prévost feeling dizzy.
Échappement qui est cassé, ça sort, il y a une odeur. Je sais pas ce qui se passe.
Didier Auriol also had a frustrating first day. Electrical problems caused a small fire and the delay resulted in a 20-second road penalty. Fortunately, Toyota were counting on 96 Swedish champion Thomas Rodström as their second entry for manufacturer's points, and he was fastest on stage 2, taking the lead from teammate Sainz.
No mistakes and try to keep the car in the line, and it feels very easy because the handling is fantastic.
More than on any other event, the tyres used in Sweden are unique. Ford's Juha Kankkunen checks the studs on his, while over at Subaru, the only team to use Pirelli tyres, their choice was under close scrutiny from the Michelin man.
Obviously we're using very special tyres, and the grip we have here is probably more than we have in a lot of gravel stages elsewhere in the world.
Okay, it's a little bit slippery, but it's okay. The grip, it's amazing, the grip. Oh, you have to get a little bit confidence because you have so much grip. In the beginning, I'm braking too early, but it's like gravel with gravel tires, even more sometimes.
But it wasn't just the drivers and co-drivers who were concerned about grip. Power is nothing without control, as Piero Liati discovered, while Bruno Thierry was taking a little time to recover from the exhaust fumes he'd inhaled. He'd be in 10th place at the end of leg 1. Germany's Uwe Nittel, partnered by a Swedish co-driver, Tina Torner, was 9th. Like Toyota, Subaru had an extra car for a snow specialist. Kenneth Eriksson, though, could only manage 8th place.
Till höger 3 plus, 30, vänster 1, till höger 2.
Despite the time lost with his electrical problems and a lack of his turbo's water injection system on a couple of stages, Didier Auriol was 7th at the end of the day. The studded tyres meant that the competitors had no need to worry about the slippery conditions. The marshals, however, did have 1 or 2 concerns. The 1986 winner, Juha Kankkunen, was 6th at the end of leg 1.
30, medium left and K right over crest, 100, crest to very long medium left, 40, crest 30, turn very long K right.
Colin McRae and Nicky Grist would be in 5th place when the rally returned to Karlstadt. The pair were denied a possible win last year by 2 spins on the final morning, so knew they were more than capable of victory.
Into K, 3 left plus tightens. And 6 right over crest, and 6 left, and 6 left over crest.
Sayat are the reigning Formula 2 world champions, but had the disappointment of losing their Finnish star Harry Rovanperä with a blown engine as early as stage 5. Oriol Gomez in the second works car was at least still going, but was caught on one stage by the Volkswagen Golf of Alistair McRae. Colin's younger brother was enjoying his second visit to Sweden.
The first 2 stages we had a problem with the rear brakes, but we've got that sorted, and it's basically you just got to settle into this and see how the studs are going to last and try and learn a bit and then push harder.
Your brother said that before the rally he wanted lots of snow. Are you hoping for the same?
No, I think now, if it stays consistent, we don't want a load of snow now because it changes all the conditions. If it stays the way it is, then it's ideal for me.
How much harder is it in 2-wheel drive?
A lot harder because you've only got the 2 wheels pulling you out the corners. The 4-wheel drive cars out the tight corners are so much quicker, and they leave different lines to what we use, so you need to drive the 2-wheel drive very neat and tidy.
Alistair would be 4th in F2 at the end of leg 1, while Sayat had the consolation of leading with the Swedish dealer team entry for Jörgen Jonassen. In the battle at the head of the field, reigning Finnish champion Marcus Gronholm was causing quite a stir by running 4th in his ageing Toyota Celica, making it 4 Toyotas in the top 7. With a new Corolla on the way, he was in a relaxed mood.
Maybe I start without any pressure to this rally, and I do my best, and now the times are very good because I don't have no pressure, so we are going only, and after this rally we have the Corolla, so it's the last rally with Celica.
Just ahead of Gronholm was one of those new cars, the Corolla of Carlos Sainz, who reckoned that running first on the road was a definite disadvantage.
I think to open the road is not the best at the moment in these conditions because it's hard underneath and loose snow on the top, and we are cleaning the road quite a lot.
Abrirse frenando, izquierda rasante derecha 40 terceras de tierra. Abrirse, izquierda derecha buena más corta de tierra, sasar, para izquierda buena más corta de tierra, ras, para la zona rápida.
A familiar face in the crowd. Seppo Harjana was there to see how his replacement Risto Manison-Mäki was getting on alongside Tommi Mäkinen. He needn't have worried. The pair were second.
Huomio, nyt jatkuu lyhyt Koovasen puspaa, Rytky ja K oikein.
But the leader at the end of the day was Thomas Rådström. He'd been fastest on 6 of the 8 stages, a brilliant performance. Just like Juha Kankkunen, Rådström prefers English pace notes.
Medium left minus. Crest 200. Little crest 80.
Rådström would now be the road sweeper, but he seemed happy enough.
The car is so easy to drive, and the problem is nearly every snowbank are gone already because all the other drivers have used it, so I have to keep a very clean line and don't touch so much.
Milder temperatures were forecast for day 2, which didn't please some.
I would like to have, a hell of a lot of snow, but I think I cannot do it. So it's the man upstairs who is going to decide what the weather is going to be.
There's not a Finnish snow dance you can do?
No, not really. I can't do.
Rådström's lead after leg 1 was 24.6 seconds, with Mäkinen, Sainz, Gronholm, McRae and Kankkunen separated by a further 1 minute 7 seconds. But what of Richard Burns? After his costly mistake on stage 2, he'd been going well and finished the day in 31st place on the leaderboard. Not that he'd start day 2 that far back on the road.
I think actually there's a rule which means that we'll be starting like the last FIA seeded driver, so we'll probably be starting about 12th, something like that tomorrow.
How many positions can you claw back?
I don't know. I mean, it's very, very strong. We're going to struggle to get in the top 10 when you look at, I think Bruno Thierry is 11th and Liati's 12th. So if we're going to struggle to sort of get back to them. I don't know. If we're lucky, I think we can get into the top 10, but we'll have to rely on a few other people having problems.
Leg 2's 6 stages took the crews from Karlstad to Hagfors and then on to the town of Borlänge. And Richard Burns caused quite a stir with quickest time on the first 2 stages.
70. Slight left to flat right to flat left, braking 60 fast right plus long.
The excellent start to the day meant that Burns and Robert Reid were now 27th.
I think we've just basically got quite a clean road now. There's all the cars in front. We're running 12th car on the road. All the other cars are throwing the snow away a bit, so we're getting down to some quite good grip.
Despite not getting his fresh snow, Juha Kankkunen was fastest on the next stage and moved himself into 5th place.
Very long bad right, 50 flat left to crest and absolute right, 70 very long medium right opens.
With Mäkinen losing 15 seconds on the first 2 stages, Thomas Rodstrom's lead increased to nearly 40 seconds. But on stage 11, the third of the day, the Finn pulled 7 back. The fight was on. Stage 12, Jutbo, at 30 miles, the longest of the entire rally. The spectators flocked into the forest in their thousands, well aware that Jutbo always provides a stiff test.
Right,
they
80.
weren't wrong.
Caution, crest 30, crest the fast left plus tightens.
Jag missade noterna, det var mitt fel.
Rodstrom's 6th gear accident needed plenty of those spectators to help him get going again, although Mäkinen was soon passing him, both on the stage and on the leaderboard.
120, vasentäysmiinus yli ja nyppytäys 7. Lyhyt helppo vasen yli aukee.
Rodstrom and his co-driver Lars Beckman were at last able to get out of the snowbank, although the bent metal at the front of the Toyota tells its own story. Not only had the radiator been badly damaged, but the pins which secured the bonnet had also been broken in the accident.
Right, 3, 30, fast left, opens and tightens, minus. 60.
Det var inte lätt.
Nej.
Fan, jag vet inte.
Easy right, minus. 50. Ja, det här var blösten.
Eventually, though, the soaring engine temperature meant that Rodstrom had no option but to switch off. Retirement while leading is never easy to accept, but when it's your home event, the disappointment must be immense.
I turned a little bit too early and I have to adjust out again because the snowbank was too high. And then I saw it was no idea to try to take the corner, so it was another road and I take straight. And it was a small snowbank and the radiator was gone.
But Jutbo wasn't finished yet. Carlos Sainz had been elevated to 2nd by Rodstrom's retirement, but another 6th gear incident awaited.
Para uno. Derecha rápida, menos atrasante, encierra poco. Para izquierda rápido, ojo corto, encierra poco. Para derecha rápido, ojo se cierra, Sasar. Ahí va. Síguelo. Baja marchas.
At least Sainz survived his heart-stopping spin, but the time lost dropped him back to 3rd once again.
Rápido, ojo se cierra, Sasar. Para izquierda rápido, ojo se cierra. Acaba la de fondo, izquierda rápida, menos.
Colin McRae was another who'd have cause to curse stage 12.
And 5 right opens over crest into 3 right plus opens. 70, 6 left.
The Subaru would grind to a halt with electrical failure and McRae's rally would be over. Bruno Thierry was finding it difficult to adapt his driving style. The Scandinavians were using the snowbanks as aids to cornering, while the Belgian tried to steer clear of them, a technique which didn't always work. It looked as though Stage 12's dramas had merely allowed a Finn to take the lead from a Swede, but those 30 miles had done a lot more than that. Two of the top 5 were out. Juha Kankkunen had leapt from 5th to 2nd, and Kenneth Eriksson had moved from 8th to 4th. Jutbo had more than lived up to its reputation. At the indoor service area at Borlänge, there were many tales to tell.
Were you lucky to escape from the spin and be able to continue?
Well, always you spin in 6 years. In a way, you have to be lucky to do not damage the car, but everything was okay.
This year, I found some extra effort for the stage, and I'm very happy for that. We found very good tyre choice.
That's the type of stage Tommy performs very, very well on. When you get a long stage, a real challenge. I mean, he left this service point saying he was going to really enjoy this next stage, and that's exactly what he did.
Obviously very disappointed. Okay, we didn't start very well. We were a bit off the pace, but it was getting better and better today. And then, you know, we retired, then you hear Radstrom's retired, Carlos had a spin, Tommy still had a good time, but it looked as though it was possible to even be second tonight.
With McRae out and Piero Liatti not registered for manufacturer's points, it was down to Kenneth Eriksson to uphold Subaru honours. Yet this was Eriksson's final rally for the team. In Portugal, he'll make the first of 10 appearances this year in a Formula 2 Hyundai.
Of course, it's very sad to leave one of the best teams in the world, you know, but as I said before, I don't want to stay just to be a test driver.
But not to win your last drive for Subaru on your home event, is that disappointing?
It's not still impossible, but it's looking difficult in the moment, but anything could happen.
All hope of scoring points had vanished for Richard Burns on day 1, but he looked back on day 2 with a certain satisfaction.
It's been pretty good today. We were quickest on the first 2 stages, which was a bit of a surprise for me, but I think the fact that the road was cleaning and we were using a really good tyre. We were trying to see if this tyre would work, and Tommy's been using it for the rest of the day, so unfortunately it was so good they took it off me, and they haven't got enough to give us both, so I've been using one which is not quite so good for the rest of the day, but I'm still pretty happy, yeah.
For being part of a team and being able to help Tommy, I guess that's good news.
I'm not in a position to really do anything for myself apart from get experience, so it's perfect for the team, for them to use me, if you like, as a test bed, so I'm happy with that.
But what of the battle for the 2-litre World Cup? Just as with his older brother Colin, Stage 12 saw the Volkswagen of Alistair McRae coasting silently to a halt.
We've just been talking on the radio. It appears the engine has launched itself in the middle of Stage 12, so it's an early bath for us, I'm afraid, yeah.
The previous stage hadn't been good either. What happened on that one?
Really just a sort of tyre situation, really, that the conditions were changing so rapidly that everybody was losing studs out of tyres, so it's really just a question of tyres going off in the middle of the stage. The tyres have been fantastic, but you can't really legislate for the rather nasty changing conditions that we've been seeing all over the rally, really.
The category was still led by Sweden's Jörgen Jonassen and Pekka Svensson in the Seat, but their main challenge now came from the Nissan Sunny of Tony Gardemeister and Paavo Lukanda from Finland, less than a minute behind.
Jörgen, you've got the winner's cap on already. Is that a bit optimistic?
No, everything is going well now, but last stage was very difficult, a lot of snow, and but I think this is the only stage with so much snow, so it was very difficult.
Nightfall and more vocal encouragement for Mäkinen, Kankkunen and Gronholm. In the Celica, Gronholm would end leg 2 in 6th place.
The final stage of the day, a super special around the ski jump in the town of Fallon, and a perfect opportunity to demonstrate the automatic timing system which times to tenths of seconds, being used on this year's World Championship events for the first time. At this head-to-head stage, 4th place Kenneth Eriksson was up against Didier Auriol, who was 5th, but introducing timing beams to rallying hasn't been as simple as for circuits.
In rallying, you've got special needs. You've got dirt, you've got grit, in Sweden, you've got snow. So the beams that we use, we can't use the regular beams that you use in other forms of motorsport. Here in Sweden, we're using beams that have been specially developed that are not susceptible to the grit or the gravel or the snow.
Okay,
It's surprising how much it mounts up. I guess it's about 5 seconds a day. I mean, I haven't sat down and worked it out. So, I mean, when you look at it from that point of view, it does make a big difference.
Here, Ericsson and Oriol finished within a second of each other. Last year, they'd have shared the same time, but the new system reveals that Ericsson was quicker by 1/10 of a second.
Going to the 10th of a second makes it a much more exciting, much more competitive championship.
Competitive is Juha Kankkunen's middle name. Runner-up to Sainz in Monte Carlo, he wanted to go one better in Sweden. Finnish drivers have won 99 World Championship rallies, and he wanted the magic 100. However, Sainz was challenging for his second place, and Mäkkinen's lead was growing.
It's not so big difference between us on the road. Of course, they are going flat out for sure because they have a big fight together, and it means that I can't slow down completely. I need to keep going still, but I think it's not necessary to take a biggest risk.
And you need to finish this rally with 10 points?
For sure, I need some points.
Fastest on 3 of the day's 6 stages, Mäkinen had opened up a lead of 1 minute 23 seconds, while the real fight was now for second place. Kankkunen and Sainz were just 15.3 seconds apart. Early morning on day 3, and Mäkinen was just 5 stages away from victory. He too could take that win number 100 for Finland. Those 5 stages would take the cars from the overnight halt at Borlänge back to Karlstad and an afternoon finish. Would we see a repeat of the dramas of day 2? Carlos Sainz was the first to move into the spotlight. He and Luis Moya set the fastest time on stage 15, the day's opening stage, to close the gap on Kankkunen to 13 seconds. It was the Mitsubishi Charisma of Richard Burns which was quickest on stage 16. Despite all the time lost on the first day, it had been an impressive performance by Burns on his first attempt at the Swedish rally.
300.
I'm happy still to be doing competitive times, and okay, the last stage we dropped about 7 or 8 seconds to the fastest just because we ran out of studs basically, but same story for everybody. We're learning.
Just to get to the finish though, will you have learnt a lot?
Yeah, a hell of a lot. I mean, if we'd still been in that ditch in stage 2, you know, not able to get out of that, then I'd have come here next year with no experience at all. But it's been really, really good event, and I've enjoyed the stages a hell of a lot. It's good fun to drive.
Richard Burns wasn't the only overseas driver visiting Sweden to learn the conditions. 2 of Britain's other young stars were there to observe.
Hopefully we want to be here next year, so it's just a perfect opportunity to actually be around, see what's going on, you know, learn a few things about the event. And as it's proven to be very useful at the moment.
We don't actually get the opportunity in the UK to drive on studded tyres, so yeah, if you can suss out a bit of what's happening, then it's always useful.
Stage 16 saw another Charisma move into the top 6. Uwe Nittel and Tina Turner began the day in 7th place, but moved up thanks to the misfortunes of Didier Oriol.
Oriol had suffered a repeat of his electrical problems of day 1. Over 2 minutes were lost on the stage, and there were some worried looks as the Corolla arrived at the next service area.
We heard there was smoke coming in the car, is that right?
A little bit, not a lot.
You can finish, do you think?
Yeah, finish, okay, no, it's no problem. The last one also, we have some engine cutting sometimes in the last one. It's okay now.
Once the problem was solved, Oriol was able to pass Nittel once again to finish 6th, while the older Celica of Marcus Gronholm was on course for 5th place. Kenneth Eriksson bade farewell to Subaru with 4th, the Impreza jumping out of 6th gear on the final day, forcing co-driver Staffan Parmander to hold it in.
Höger 2, inside. 80. Vänster 4 minus, break till vinkel vänster.
Group N, the class for production cars, was won by the Mitsubishi of Stig Olof Wolfridsson and his veteran co-driver Benny Melander. Jörgen Jonassen held off the Nissan of Tony Gardemeister to clinch Seat's first victory of the year in Formula 2.
Despite the fact that Bruno Thierry didn't score any championship points, his 8th place confirmed Ford as the team with the best finishing record. Both cars have completed the 2 rallies run so far, although that was little comfort for Thierry's team leader. Kankkunen had lost 10 seconds to Sainz after hitting a snowbank on stage 17, and now only 2 stages remained.
Just 1.5 seconds between you and Carlos. What are you going to be able to do to hold him off?
Just try to stay on the road and try have to go as fast as I can. That's all.
You know Juha better than anybody else. Is there a psychological battle as well, or is it just pure driving?
It's driving. Sometimes goes in one side, sometimes in the other side. Anything can happen.
Kankkunen set off into stage 18. He and Juha Repo had been teammates of Sainz and Moya last year, but now there were no team orders. This was a straight fight. Ford against Toyota, man against man.
And long fast right to crest, 70, turn 90 left.
Sainz had been fastest on 2 of the first 3 of the day's stages and was again quickest on the 4th to move ahead of Kankkunen. On stage 19, the 6-mile final stage, it was yet again the Toyota which set the fastest time, and so Sainz could finish second, just 7 seconds ahead of a disappointed Kankkunen.
I think it went okay, but still not fast enough. So Toyota seems to work well here. I mean, the times what Råström did in the first day were incredible. And the car is good. They had the right setup and everything for this rally.
The battle for second place, however, hadn't troubled Tommi Mäkinen. He was happy to let the pair fight it out and cruise to victory by over 50 seconds. So he, and not Kankkunen, had the honour of taking Finland's 100th World Rally win.
First win for 6 months, it seems a long time.
It certainly does. You know, it's amazing that he's been that long, but Tommy's as competitive as ever, and you know, here we are. He's been in control of the event from the start, and we look forward to the safari now. Here he is.
His boss had said it all. Mitsubishi were back to their winning ways, and Risto Männisen-Mäki had scored his first victory alongside Tommy. The look on the world champion's face told the story.
Congratulations, winner of the Swedish Rally.
Thank you.
This is your 3rd second place in Sweden. When is somebody who's not from Scandinavia going to win it?
Next year.
51.6 seconds Mäkinen's winning margin from Sainz, Kankkunen, Eriksson, Gronholm and Oriol. Over 4 minutes covered the top 6, and 7th place Nittel was just 25 seconds further back. Carlos Sainz has now extended his lead in the World Drivers' Championship to 6 points, with second place shared by Kankkunen and Mäkinen, and the 3 Subaru drivers rounding off the leaderboard.
In the series for manufacturers, Toyota still lead, with Mitsubishi having moved into 2nd place, ahead of Ford on 11 points and Subaru, who have 10. The first champagne of the season for Mäkinen and Männisen-Mäki, with their loyal Finnish supporters sharing their joy. Round 3 of the championship is another event Mäkinen's won in the past, although he retired from Kenya's Safari Rally last year when the winner was Colin McRae. Toyota and now Mitsubishi have won in 1998. Will it be Subaru's turn in Africa?